This camera's doing weird stuff. It's getting old too. Okay, this 2110, although it has heater boxes on it, I shouldn't. And I've just been using it in town. That's not like going down the highway for hours and hours and hours on end. Gene Berg in his book recommended that you use the 40 by 35 head on this engine, and that's exactly what I did. But you shouldn't use heater boxes. He said the heater boxes must go. And this engine's got too high a compression. There's no shims anywhere on it. I'm running like 9.6 to 1 at sea level, so at my altitude that's like 8.5, which is acceptable, but I'd be going down to sea level, and I'm not doing that on pump gas, and I'm not going to trash this engine doing that. One of the reasons I took apart that 1776 sand engine was it had some really nice Gene Berg shims under the cylinders, and I had been thinking for a long time that I wanted to get some of these good shims. Here they are. You don't see shims like that just any place. These are 100,000th shims, double Blanchard ground, some blah blah, but they are really nice, and I thought I would pop the heads on that 2110, lower the compression. I bought some 60,000th ones for the heads, the copper ones, but I do listen to other people, and I understand that those won't last or work on the street, so that's out of the question. So the 2110 in its present state is not suitable for that kind of a trip or that kind of operation. This 1776 is done, obviously. This case, I never expected it to be last this long. You can see the bearing saddles here. There's no ridge on any of them. You can see the wear pattern. You can see the camshaft here. Isn't that just crazy? It looks like, look at that lobe, and then look at that lobe. Pretty crazy. So, you know, we're talking, you have to include oil in this discussion, and you have to figure out what's going on. Where's that one lifter that was really bad? Oh yeah, here's that. That's just a trough. Isn't that horrible? Those two lifters, there was one on, let's see, where does it go here? It would be right here. So I'm looking at the lifter holes, and it's hard for me to decide what went on here, because here's that lifter, and the cam bearings are fed by the center cam bearing. Comes off the main oil galley there. Let's see. Anyhow, I don't want to spend too much time on all this. This wasn't supposed to be that kind of a video, but I spent that snow day doing a lot of reading. I was going to try an oil mod on here, because I'm not sure if it was the oil, if it was the straight cut cam gears. It could have been a combination of everything. And like I said, it did get me home. It was amazing this thing ran at all. So my head is filled now with stuff. Okay, I purchased some stuff. I didn't like that counterweighted crankshaft. This was a welded counterweighted crankshaft that was in the 1776, and I think I made a point in the video mentioning that the balancer had a tough time. And if you look at it, I may do another video with these side by side on the floor. Those bearing journals look great too. Look at that. I mean, for a 20-year-old sand engine, these things look alright. Definitely, if that crank isn't bent, it could be reused. But when the guy balanced it, let me show you this. He said, don't mix up those connecting rods and pistons. He said, I had to really grind a lot away. I should probably have a flashlight. And you can see this is how they lighten the pistons to get them to match. This one doesn't look too bad, but look how thin it is from the edge here, looking straight down. This side, well, both sides of that one had some off. there was one that was really bad. You could just see how they, you know, they have to take the weight off someplace. And I remember him telling me that that's as much as he could do without compromising the pistons themselves. You can see where they, and you know, he told me within a half a gram. That was what the balancer told me. But I've been doing some reading on that too. And these are the forged 90.5 A pistons. Here's another thing that I want you to notice. You can see the hone marks on the bottom of the cylinders where it goes in the engine case. You can see where it's where it, oh, this had chrome top ring too, by the way. Look at how it wore that cylinder. But down at the bottom of the skirt, it doesn't look like much, and I've taken a lot of engines apart that it still had the hone marks at the bottom. And that's why I bought those 88 slip-ins, because I knew they were going to be thin. I didn't really realize they were going to be that thin, but I thought I'd take a chance with them. So the 1776, that's done. The heads turned out great. I can't use the 2-liter because I got so many shims underneath that one. I can't get a nice exhaust to fit. That's got standard valve heads on it. That engine would work, but I need to take shims out. It gets complicated, and those are standard heads. Where is the head? Let's see. No, that's the new head. That's a new head. Well, let me talk about not being prepared on a video. Let me get, this is the head that was on that 1776. This is running double springs. Everybody told me I was nuts on the sand for running those double springs, but I want you to look at these heads. I don't have a good solvent tank to clean them up, but I did clean them up a little bit. Got some of the carbon out. These heads are like perfect. They come out to be 50 cc's. I thought they had stainless steel valves in them, but they didn't. And these would not be considered a performance valve, but this is just how they came out. I just wire brushed them off, and look at the ends of those valves. These were Geenberg double valve springs, keepers, and retainers, and those I was using the swivel feet, and these didn't stick. I didn't do a thing. These things came right out of that. The heads, a lot of times they'll get a little burr by the keepers if there's been jumping around, and there's just no, this is like new. There's just no, these valve guides all these years, they're like new. These were Geenberg valve guides. These were the correct valve guides. I had cut the bore. They're all going to fall down. And I put a big, like a 60,000 steel shim, and then I put this thin shim. And you can see where it dug in. Oh, this is interesting. See, just every time I look at them and touch things, because this one is high. A couple of washers came out, put back in. There's some spring wear. A little shiny spots that on the double springs, on the inside spring, you look in there, there's friction between the two inner and outer spring. And that's what you want for dampening harmonics and so forth. But yeah, all this crap is going through my head. I can't even trial assemble this thing or mock it up because I need the correct bearings to go on the case. I'm going to have some real tight clearances, so I can't even begin on trial to put this thing together. I can't make a decision on my cam gears. I have a few stock gears. Now I've got the set that came out of the 17, no, those were straight cut. The ones that were originally in the engine, I'm going to trial fit those, the helical gears. So, shit. I'd be happy with a good stock 1600 dual port right now. I want to get the hell out of Dodge and get on the road this is all fun stuff, watching my friend build his engine and experimenting with this. Had I known all this stuff was going to come up, had I just been able to talk to him before I made that order, and I tried, I probably wouldn't have bought the stuff that I did, but I thought, you know, what the hell. Cost-wise, replace the crankshaft, and that's why I bought the aftermarket counterweight. I have one in the 17.6 in Valerie, but, you know, the Valerie and the Tow Buggy are both complete cars that are running, and it's stupid to just be taking engines from one to the other, rotating them around. Here's the new crankshaft, and I thought, you know, a buddy of mine just built a 76 stroker with the stock cast pistons, and he told me he had to cut up his pistons a little bit to make it all go together, and he had some issues. Didn't have that camshaft stuff that our friend had, but I thought, well, I'll go 74, and I'll use these hyper eutectic pistons that I've used before. Now this one, I noticed, if you look at the stock, see the big chamfered oil holes here? They're on opposite sides of the crank. On this one, they're not chamfered as much, and they're two together on this side of the crank, which probably isn't a problem. Here's one of the issues with a Volkswagen and why it is such an unbalanced design. See how this is your center main, and you have these two connecting rod journals on the same side. On Fords and Chevys, you know, a lot of times they stagger that stuff, or they'll share a journal with the connecting rods, but there's a lot of offset weight here. These two are on this side. You'd think it would counteract each other and work out, but they don't. You take a stock crank into a balancer, he said, get out of here. The guy that did that balance job, I asked him, I said, can you balance the stock Volkswagen rotating assembly? He says, no, don't even bring it in. So I don't know what the story was on that. I just knew that he wasn't too happy me saying it. So, oh, and I've got those Berg push rods. Oh, here's a little tidbit that my friend might be interested of. How did this thing live and last? It had the large 10mm head bolts, because this was an early fuel relief case. This thing had case savers put in it for the large head bolts. I was taking it apart and I said, wow, that's awful close to the edge here. That looks like a 94 jug. Sometimes they cut into the case saver with the 94s, and I thought, man, I wonder how that thing even sealed. And then I realized, hey, wait a minute, these are the 10mm head studs, and they've got case savers. All of them had been redone, so they must have had, this thing had issues before. And it's not AS41 nor 21, it's something else. I don't know, it has this 37 on it, so maybe it was a bus motor. Let's see if it has a, it's not tapped for the mustache bar. Huh. Oh well. I just thought rather than throw up another snow video, I'd kind of stay on topic. This, two of us doing a build at the same time with two different style motors and two different backgrounds. Oh, my head is so full of Volkswagen, I'm ready to puke. So anyhow, I thought it'd be more fun to post up a video on this topic and keep it going. We're having a lot of drama. I'm getting a lot more views. I'm getting a bunch of new subs. People are curious what's going on. You know, I'm sure that in the back of everybody's minds they're saying, you know, yeah, wouldn't it be cool if TheEZGZ and the boss had a head-to-head drag race or something like this, you know, and I suppose we could race for a burrito or something like that. But wow, he is racer through and through. And like I said, I wish I could go for a ride in that car when it's done. You never know. should never say shouldn't and never, but I doubt that'll happen. It's just not in my budget, and I'm so far away. Boy, I'd be on his doorstep. I'd be standing over his parts washer, doing work for him just to learn what I could, just to be touching some of those parts, I'll tell you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope everybody has a wonderful Easter weekend. I want to thank everybody for being you, for the support, for the views, for subbing, all the stuff that's going on. And have a great day. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subbing. TheEZGZ out.